Hi, I'm Alec Wasson. I'm the Chief Tomato Evangelist for the Tomato Products Wellness Council. We're out here in the tomato fields right now in Woodland, California, and we're gonna meet with Sam Meek. He is a 4th generation tomato grower, and we're gonna find out what's going on out here and how this all comes together. Sam, thank you for having us here today. Could we maybe start with just telling us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your family and the history here at this farm?
Sure thing. I'm a 4th generation tomato farmer here in Woodland, California. My family has been farming here since 1945. We're here now at our home ranch harvesting these tomatoes.
Yeah, well, and I mean, obviously, you know, this is tomato season. I know you guys have got to go. Could you tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here today?
Today we've got our first shift going on of the day. We have 3 shifts. They run around the clock to get these tomatoes in, because right now they're beautiful and red, and we want them to get in that cannery as quick as possible.
Can you tell us a little bit about the actual process of how the harvester is working? I see, it's getting followed by the large, the gondolas.
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about how that whole process happens?
Sure. The harvester goes along. There's a cutting device on the front, picks the tomatoes up, shakes the tomatoes off the vine, which they come off right now very easy. Mm-hmm. They get separated in the machine. They get ran through some sorters, color sorters, picking out any green tomatoes, any dirt, any debris, and then they go by some personnel we have on the machines that also get anything that the sorters might have missed. They get dumped right in the tub. The tub goes into our yard for maybe about 15 to 20 minutes. A truck will pick it up. It'll take it to the cannery, which is only about 5-6 miles away. And so from field to into the cannery, you're about 45 minutes to an hour.
Man. Yeah, and I know, I mean, that's what we're always talking about. I mean, you're getting these at their red ripe peak, and then within hours locking in that flavor so that we can enjoy that all year long. It's amazing. Now, a lot of people will ask, what is the difference between these tomatoes that we're seeing here in the field? I mean, obviously these wouldn't be the ones that you would see at a grocery store. What are the differences between the fresh tomatoes and those that we use for, soups and ketchup and pasta sauce and all that?
The difference is that you can get these all year long, and like you said, they're sealed up. You can open it up in January and you can get a beautiful red tomato, beautiful sauce. The flavor's amazing. Whereas maybe with a tomato in the store, it could be good, but it's hit and miss. It could be orange, they're picked when they're green, so they don't ripen. The sugars don't get to the fruit. They don't quite have the same flavor, and that I believe that a canned tomato does.
Well, it's people forget that these are seasonal, that tomatoes are grown in the summertime, and that's where you guys are going 24/7 to capture them at their peak. I think it's great. What if you could talk to a consumer and tell them what it's like farming, when you hear criticism maybe about either canned foods or agriculture in general, what do you wish that you could tell consumers?
I mean, we tried to create a product we don't try to do anything hurtful to anybody, of course, and we try and create a product for consumers to enjoy, just as same as anybody else would create a product. We do it as sustainably as we can. We do what we can to try and keep this going. We rotate our crops to reduce disease, and we try to conserve water, and we're in a drought now, but we do what we can to try and conserve everything we can.
Well, and you mentioned water. How much, I mean, we're here, Central Valley, California, it's a hot topic. How much has that affected this year's crop, and how much does that affect your going about business? Has that changed things very drastically?
Absolutely. We had very little surface water from Clear Lake and Indian Valley this year because of low levels and low rainfall. And wells they're keeping up for the most part. We've had to lower some wells. The water level has dropped, and it's just something you live day by day on. I mean, it's next year you got to look towards the future, and it's hard to look at, but you got to be prepared for the worst. And I think we've done a pretty good job this year about keeping our water as tight as possible.
Well, and I know that as an industry, that's something that over the last 20, 30 years, you guys have continued to find ways to be innovative and do more with less. Do you have some examples of maybe some of the new technology or new practices that you guys have started using that have helped you stay afloat through all these ups and downs?
The drip tape's the biggest thing. There's no wasted water. You're not having any tailwater run out that runs into the river which goes out to the ocean. The drip tape is directly below the plant, about 12 inches. It gets all the nutrients, all the water right to the root zones. So you're not over irrigating. We go out and check all these fields a lot to make sure there's no leaks, and that's probably the biggest technological advance in the last 20 years that's come about.
Now, 2020 was an interesting year. 2021 has been also interesting.
Yes.
How has all these ups and downs and COVID and the lockdowns, and how has that affected you as an operation, and also from a business standpoint? How much has that impacted your business?
Well, I mean, when COVID hit and it got real serious, we obviously implemented all the safety protocols we could, wearing masks, sanitizing. We were spraying down the inside of tractors, doing everything we could, and luckily we got through. We had only one person get sick, and he didn't get sick here, which is good for us. And but it was tough. I mean, it was everything. Getting supplies has been really hard. Parts are very hard to find. We've been lucky enough to get through this right now, but it's been tough. It's been very tough.
Well, I think one of the interesting things that came out of the lockdown was, when you would go to a grocery store and you saw, all the canned goods were gone, and that everybody
Yes.
realized that, these reliable, safe, healthy products that you guys produce are there for us when we have, these kind of questionable times. And I thought that was an interesting thing. And the other part where people started really to realize that, you guys are essential, that you farm the food that feeds America. And I thought that of some of the heroes that everybody recognized through all of the challenges. I mean, obviously healthcare workers and doctors and everyone, but I thought that, it did make people kind of pause to realize, oh yeah, the people that feed us and make sure that we have safe, healthy food, we should appreciate those people as well. And so I hope that that appreciation continues on, and that we continue to, find ways to get good, healthy food to people. So this year, like we said, water has been a challenge. What are you seeing with this year's crop, and what are you expecting? How do you think it's going to turn out?
So far, it's pretty good. We've been producing some pretty good yields so far, and looking forward, I mean, it's where water's tight, you're going to have some yield decrease, but overall, our crops look pretty good as a whole. But yeah, I mean, it's been very tough. You have to manage it very tightly and constantly be checking your pressure gauges on the drip to make sure you're not losing pressure, which is losing water. And once you get behind with drip tape, you can never come back from that. Once you're too dry, you can never be able to get the beds wet again. Mm-hmm. That's something I've learned.
Oh. So farming seems really hard. I'm sure that, you had other options. I mean, you could have been an astronaut or a, bullfighter. Why do you farm?
Well, it's partly in my blood. I've been out here since I was a kid, doing one odd job or another, and I love it. I love being out here. I don't know what I would do if I wasn't a farmer. I truly enjoy growing a crop, producing something, and at the end of the year I can look back and be proud of what I've done.
So if you could tell me about what does a day look like for you, as and maybe a day in harvest season, and then maybe tell me about how the rest of your year. I know that this is a year-round operation, basically, to get where we are right now. Can you tell me about how a day would look?
Sure. Harvest season, like days like today, I meet my my foreman at the field that we're harvesting, or we're going to move to at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and then get them situated for the day, kind of get them on the right track. I head back to the shop. I meet my irrigators. I meet any other tractor drivers I have, and we kind of go through a schedule, what their day is going to be like. I create an irrigation schedule, what fields to fertilize, which ones just turn water on. And then from there, I kind of go out and I manage everything as well as I can. I go check what I need to check. If there's a problem, I go help fix, if I can help fix. And then I kind of just roll through my day, and then the night shift comes in for harvest at about 5 o'clock in the night, and I get them situated and I go home.
Now, and the advances with the tractors and the harvesters, I know, are these on GPS? I mean, as far as like actually driving in these exact straight lines, how much of that is manual and how much is technology?
The beds are put up with GPS. When we, in the fall, we do everything with GPS. The discs are disking. Any of our groundwork is all GPS. It limits overlap. It cuts down on diesel costs, labor costs, all that stuff. And then we form the beds GPS. But after that, we don't do anything GPS. These guys are all hand steering everything. They kind of get in their groove, and they're going at a slow enough pace where they can kind of keep control of it.
Wow. And how many tomatoes does each of these tubs hold?
Tomatoes, the actual number, I don't know, but about, these are average about 25.5 tons per set of trailers.
Wow. Okay. And how quickly do they fill up each of these tubs?
Here we're filling up about every 20 minutes.
Wow. Because I've just, as we've been talking, I'm watching, one after another. As soon as one of these tubs gets filled up, I see it take off, and there's another one ready to go.
Ready to go right
And
behind
this is going 24 hours a day?
Pretty much, yeah. A few hours early in the morning where we're done, but that's about it.
It's pretty incredible. So Sam, could you tell us about these tomatoes we're seeing here in this field? What variety, what are these gonna grow up to be?
Sure, we're harvesting here is 5235. They're very firm, real red tomato, high solids, good sugars. They have a lot of flavor. And then these will probably be going into a dice line in the cannery. So they have good, nice meat inside. That's exactly what they're looking for. These are gonna be, these are good eaters right here. Really good.
And these were specifically grown and bred to be for this, right? These
Correct.
aren't these, because I think that's one of the misconceptions that I hear sometimes, is that people think that tomato products, whether it's whole or ketchup or whatever you're using for soup or whatever else, they feel like those were the rejects that weren't designed pretty enough to become a fresh tomato. And I think if you could maybe speak to that these were specifically grown to be what is it that makes these better for being used in diced and soups?
No, these are grown for their color, for the viscosity, for everything that makes them the best. I mean, I would choose these over store-bought tomato. These are made to bring out the flavor in soups, to bring out the flavor in a sauce, or in a can of diced tomatoes. I mean, they're beautiful.
And exactly, I always talk about for cooking purposes especially. Yes. I mean, I don't think that there's like when we're here in the middle, it's tomato season. We're surrounded by tomatoes. We live in a place that you can get great tomatoes out of your own backyard for a certain window. But still, for cooking, I think that you're always going to get that better flavor, and you're not going to get so much water that you would from cooking with fresh tomatoes. It always just surprises me that people think that the fresh tomato would be your top choice when 99% of the year you're probably going to be having a much better consistent flavor out of what you guys are doing right here.
I think nutritional value and flavor, I think you've got these tomatoes are the best.
Yeah. So Sam, obviously here we are, we're about 30 miles north of Sacramento?
Roughly, yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Why are we growing tomatoes here? What is it about this area that you think is so beneficial to growing tomatoes?
It's our climate, our soils. We have the best, we have the warm days, cool nights. You don't have extreme temperature changes. We don't have summer rain. These have the best growing season. We have cool springs that sometimes graduate into warmer summers. It's been a hot summer this year, but we have good soil textures. So we're able to grow these tomatoes and produce a good crop here.
I've heard it described as kind of a Mediterranean climate, which explains kind of the regions in the world where tomatoes are grown for the most part, generally have pretty similar climates.
Absolutely.
But when you're looking at the world, obviously, I believe here in California, I think we represent about a third of all the processed tomatoes that are grown in the world. Why would you recommend to consumers that it's important for them to look on the back of their can and see that this was grown in the USA? What does that mean to you? Why would you think that they should specifically choose that?
I think we put out a really great product. I think that continuing to buy USA-made products like these continue me to be able to grow them and have a livelihood that I enjoy and that I maybe will be able to pass down one day to my children.
That's great. Well, and I think that, you know, we have much more oversight and the safety regulations, I know, which I imagine as a farmer is a challenge at times, but as an American consumer, we can know that we're getting a safe, reliable product that we can trust. I think that that's been something that's come up regarding imports before, that you're not sure what you're getting, you're not sure who you're supporting.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, knowing that these are American farmers and farm workers that we're supporting, and the local economy of all the truck drivers and every part of this whole ecosystem that surrounds this industry, I think it's great for people to think about who is doing it and who we're supporting with our food dollars. I love it. Well, thank you so much. I mean, this is always so great. I love getting out here to the fields. I appreciate your time. I know that this is kind of a hectic time of year for you, I'm sure.
Yes.
But I appreciate it. I'm glad that you could be a part of the tour this year, and I'm sure we'll see you back here next year.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.